unless you understand how the writer of Hebrews has developed this book. Because he's developing this situation of entering the holiest place, the Holy of Holies, versus how they did it in the Old Testament concerning the tabernacle. Now, whereas you have the opportunity to enter the holy place, the holiest of holies. That wasn't a possibility in Israel's day. God seemed to be in a situation of shrinking back, so to speak, when it came to the presence of God. Because you see, when the tabernacle was constructed, and the instructions were given for that, and as they moved from place to place, and reconstructed this tabernacle from time to time as they stopped in, as God was guiding them, what happened? They would construct the outer walls of this place where the sacrifices would take place, the burnt offerings and everything. Then inside the holy place where those instruments were placed, the priests themselves had the opportunity to go into that place. But only one priest, one time of year, had the opportunity to go into the holiest of holy places where the tabernacle was placed. And he did that with caution, you see. Some historians even said that they put bells on the end of their robes, tied ropes onto the priest's leg in case something were, in case he were not to have been cleansed to the proper place. And something were to transpire concerning his life in the, while he was taking care of his duties there, they would be able to pull him out. The writer of Hebrews tells us that we have the opportunity today, you and I, to go into that place called the Holy of Holies. Whereas we have the confidence to enter this place not just once a year, not just once a year, but we can approach it with confidence, knowing what Jesus Christ has already done. There used to be a time in my life, you see, in Israel's day, when they would approach this holy place, this holiest of holies where the tabernacle was placed. They did it with caution and fear. Over the Christmas holidays, I had the opportunity to spend several days with my father, especially in the mornings, all day Christmas Eve day. And you know, I enjoyed that time. And I had some conversations we've never had before. And I had confidence in being in his presence and sharing with him. One-on-one, just he and I. But there was a time in my life when I did not approach him with that kind of confidence. I approached him with fear and trembling. Do you all remember those days with your father? Your mother? Yes. But what a great pleasure. What a great joy. What glory I had in my heart, knowing that I was sitting next to my father and talking with him with all the confidence in the world. And I enjoyed it. And that's what it's like with God our Father. And that's what he did for us. He gave us that confidence to enter into his presence with our request, with our wants, with our desires. I enjoy what John said about the prayers. That's confidence. When we can lift those prayers up to one another and know that we're in the presence of God. God, through his Son Jesus Christ, is interceding for us. Whereas we have this right to enter this most holy place, but also we have a new and living way opened up to us through this curtain. You see, when they set up the tabernacle, they pulled the curtain over the top of it, It was stretched down. But they also pulled a curtain over the front of it so that no one could see in or get it except this one priest and one priest only. But now, because of Jesus Christ and what He did at the cross, that day at Calvary, it specifically tells us that that curtain was torn from top to bottom. And He opened up a new and living way to us. Whereas, as this curtain was torn from top to bottom, it symbolized, first of all, that God did it. Man did not have a thing at all to do with bringing us into the presence of Jesus Christ, regardless of what the Republicans and the Democrats said. You know, I found it very, very unusual that the politicians who have either stayed away from the issue of Jesus Christ or who have come out, such as one from Arkansas, and openly professed during the Christmas season. And I've also been humored by those who did it both ways. Happy holiday and Merry Christmas. That's a good politician. Jesus Christ opened this curtain for us and only gave us one way, just like the ark that He instructed Noah to build. It only placed one window and one door in it. It was one way. And it's this way as this curtain was ready. And secondly, people can now enter into the presence of God. We don't need the intercession of a priest. We now have a high priest. And whereas, in verse 21, having a high priest over the house of God. In Jesus, we know how much God loves us and all that He will do to redeem us. Just take a look, back up to the first verse, the first few verses of chapter 10. Notice what it says, "For the law, having a shadow of the good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never with these same sacrifices, which they offer continually year by year, make those who approach perfect. For then would they not have ceased to be offered? For the worshippers, once purged, would have no more conscience of sin. But in those sacrifices, there is a reminder of sins every year." Notice verse 5. "Therefore, when He came into the world, He said, Sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but a body you have prepared for me. In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin you had no pleasure. Then I said, Behold, I have come. In the volume of this book it is written of me to do your will, O God." In verse 11 and 12, "And every priest stands ministering daily, and offering repeatedly the same sacrifices, which can never take away sins." Now listen. But this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever,